Welcome to this learning series on food innovation and innovation-ready food regulatory systems. When we think about food regulation, our first instinct is often to think about food safety and consumer protection as well as compliance. And rightly so. These remain the primary responsibilities of every food regulatory authority. However, the environment in which we operate is changing rapidly. Today, food regulators are increasingly expected not only to protect consumers, but also to create the conditions that allow safe innovation to reach the market. Innovation is no longer simply a matter of commercial opportunity. It has become a strategic response to major societal challenges: food security, nutrition, sustainability, climate resilience, and economic development. In this context, enabling responsible innovation is becoming a legitimate public policy objective alongside the traditional objectives of consumer protection and fair practices in trade. Food systems are facing pressures unlike those experienced in previous generations. Global population growth continues to increase demand for food. Climate change is altering production conditions in many parts of the world. Water, land, and other natural resources are becoming more constrained, and consumers are seeking healthier, more sustainable, and more personalized food choices. At the same time, scientific and technological capabilities are advancing at an unprecedented pace. According to the FAO Food Safety Foresight Report, climate change, population growth, changing dietary patterns, global trade, migration, and technological innovation are among the major drivers shaping the future of agri-food systems and food safety. These forces create both challenges and opportunities for food regulators. Innovation in food production systems is no longer discretionary. It is, in fact, not occurring in isolation. It is a direct and indispensable response to these global pressures. FAO has undertaken extensive foresight work to understand how agri-food systems may evolve over the coming decades. The conclusion in the report is that agri-food systems are entering a period of profound transformation. We are witnessing the emergence of new food sources, new production systems, digital technologies, artificial intelligence applications, personalized nutrition, circular economy approaches, and entirely new business models in the delivery of food production systems. These developments create opportunities to improve food security, sustainability, and health outcomes. However, they also raise important questions for food regulators. How do we assess safety when products have little or no history of consumption? How do we evaluate technologies that did not exist when our regulations were written? How do we maintain public confidence while remaining open to innovation? These are precisely the questions that innovation-ready regulatory systems must be able to address. One of the clearest manifestations of food innovation is the search for new food sources. Historically, humanity has relied on a relatively limited number of crops and animal species for most of its food supply. Today, there is growing interest in diversifying food sources to improve resilience, nutrition, and sustainability. Examples include plant-based proteins, algae, seaweeds, insects, precision fermentation products, cellular cultivated foods, and the rediscovery of underutilized traditional crops, identifying extracts with health benefits and functions. The foresight exercises on new food sources and production systems identified dozens of emerging innovations that could significantly reshape food systems over the next 20 to 30 years. Many of these innovations are motivated by the need to produce more food with fewer resources while reducing the environmental impact. When discussing food innovation, we often immediately think about novel foods. However, innovation extends far beyond novel ingredients. Innovation can occur through new production systems, new technologies, new processing methods, the discovery of new functionality to known or new ingredients, and even new approaches to delivering health benefits. For example, artificial intelligence is increasingly being used to identify new ingredients and optimize food formulations. Precision fermentation is producing proteins that were previously difficult to obtain. Personalized nutrition is creating opportunities to tailor food products to individual needs and choices. And the regulatory challenge is therefore becoming broader than managing a few novel products or novel ingredients. It is about ensuring that the regulatory systems remain fit for purpose in a continuously evolving innovation landscape. It is important to remember that innovation is not only about managing risk. Innovation also creates opportunities. For consumers, innovation may lead to healthier foods, improved nutritional profiles, greater choice, and better access to products aligned with consumers' values. For governments, innovation can contribute to food security, to sustainability objectives, economic diversification, and also job creation. For industry, innovation supports competitiveness, investment, and access to new markets. Innovation should not therefore be viewed solely as a regulatory challenge. It should be viewed as an opportunity that can help address some of the most pressing issues facing food systems today. At the same time, innovation inevitably introduces uncertainty. When a product has been consumed for generations, regulators can often rely on extensive experience and historical knowledge. When a product is new, that certainty may not exist. Regulators must determine whether the product is safe, what evidence is needed, whether existing frameworks are adequate, and whether additional oversight may be warranted. This is why novel foods and emerging technologies often receive a heightened regulatory attention. The challenge is to manage uncertainty in a manner that remains science-based, proportionate to risk, and transparent while avoiding unnecessary barriers to innovation. Regulatory systems that fail to evolve can create their own risks. When regulatory frameworks are unclear, unpredictable, or outdated, innovation may be delayed or diverted elsewhere. Investors become reluctant to commit resources. Companies may prioritize markets that offer clearer pathways, and consumers may experience delayed access to beneficial products. We increasingly see situations where the same ingredient receives approval in one jurisdiction while remaining inaccessible in another. The result is, in fact, fragmentation, duplication of effort, increased costs, and reduced efficiency. And in many cases, the challenge is not the absence of safety standards. The challenge is the absence of a regulatory pathway that is clear enough, that is predictable, and that can accommodate innovation effectively. Now, a common misconception is that innovation-friendly regulation means weaker regulation. Nothing could be further from the truth. Innovation-friendly systems must remain firmly grounded in public health protection. The difference is that they seek to achieve regulatory objectives through approaches that are primarily based on science, that are risk-based, transparent, predictable, adaptable, and maintaining the collaborative stance of food regulatory engagement. Such systems maintain high standards of safety while reducing the unnecessary uncertainty and reducing duplication. In other words, innovation-friendly regulation is not about lowering the bar. It is about improving the way the system must operate. And if there is one message that I would like to take away from this particular session, it is this. Food innovation has become a strategic issue for nations and for humanity, not only for regulators. The future of food systems will be shaped by new products, by new technologies, new production systems, and new consumer expectations. And food regulators must have a critical role to play, not only as protectors of the food supply, but also as enablers of safe, responsible, and trustworthy innovation. The challenge before us is not whether innovation will happen. It will. The challenge is whether our regulatory systems are prepared to guide it effectively. So, if innovation has become a strategic objective, what exactly does an innovation-friendly food regulatory framework look like? This is what we will explore in the subsequent sessions.